Goodwill/thrift shop workers, what are some of the strangest things you found in the donations? I was sorting out some donated items and come across an unusual set of tools. Through some research, we discovered that it was a full transorbital lobotomy tool set. It got donated to a local university for display. Apparently, a vintage set in good condition can sell for around $1,000. Well, now who has a full transorbital lobotomy tool set just laying around? Moreover, who just donates something like that without any explanation of what it is? Pretty cool though, I guess. Probably deceased older relative who was a doctor. Lobotomies were done not all that long ago. I was a stalker, not working directly with donations. But goddamn, so many people donate vibrators. All the way from top-of-the-line Hitachi magic wands to retro lil metal things that look like a Wiimote. My ex worked at a value village and said the amount of people who donated shit blood-cum covered clothes or items was unbelievable. Edit, she also developed the weirdest habit for grading all the pieces of my clothing. She'd feel my leg and then just go B+ and have me wondering what the duck she's talking about. Dead animals worked at Goodwill for like 2 months when I was 16. I can see it now. Gently used cat, $10. I've read here that ashes of cremated loved ones is a super common donation. Lots of people just think it's a vase at recently deceased Aunt Bertha's house, not realizing it actually contains the earthly remains of her husband Chuck. I imagine there are plenty of people who donate it fully knowing what it is. Serious question. What are you supposed to do with ashes you no longer, or want? My grandmother was one of 9 kids, but through various weird reasons, my mom is the only surviving descendant in her generation of any of them. We have 17 vases of ashes, most of those siblings, several of their spouses, as well as a couple from older generations. She barely knew any of those people. I never knew any of those people. What are we supposed to do with them? Just keep a dead family shelf in the basement forever? Edit, thanks for the suggestions. As it happens, one thing we were left by one of those relatives is an empty lot. It's kinda hard to describe. It used to be a small tree farm, but the last time they harvested was '09 and there wasn't money to pay for replanting. It's in a tiny town in North Carolina where property tax is tiny, so I think we'll make a trip up there and make it a family grove cemetery. A grovetary. Edit 2, a graveyard. Why didn't I think of that first? Mix all of the ashes together with a little cement mix and make a nice flower pot or memorial or something. I'm serious, not trying to be disrespectful. Damn it, Daniel. You just broke Grandma and Pop. A high school diploma still in its leather case. We were selling it for $1.39. Also a porn movie inside a Clifford the Big Red Dog DVD case. I really want to make a big red dog joke, but am not sure of the best way to phrase it. I've found a ton of weird stuff. The old ladies I worked with called stuffed animal stuffies. I always thought it was strange. Well, one day we get a big box, 2x2, labeled stuffies. They opened it up and it was full of dildos, butt plugs, handcuffs. All kind of sex toys. I've never heard so much hootin' and hollerin' in my life. Sounded like a pack of coyotes. Edit, I also found a VHS tape of Lost in Space when I was talking to a coworker. Pulled out the tape and $70 cash fell out. Maybe someone forgot about their hiding place. THX for the silver, homie. I didn't know they literally meant stuffies. Use journals. Highlights include someone recounting the time they bit someone, and a tale of an explosive funeral. They make for a good read, but why wouldn't you throw them out? Decluttering, I threw a journal from my adolescence in the bin. The journal that graphically described my first period at age 11, 14 crushes ranked in order of kissability, mortifying youth group tales, detailed sketches of my fantasy elf wardrobe. Dark times I'd rather not remember. Well, my pack rat dad couldn't stand to see a half-full journal on the curb, so he donated it to a thrift store. Apparently. Because later, someone contacted him by mail to return it. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, stranger. So glad to have that back. Edit, my first Reddit silver? Totally writing this in my journal, !1 thanks, stranger. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, stranger. So glad to have that back. That journal has magical powers. You'll never be able to rid yourself of it now. Was doing community service at a Goodwill. A Vietnamese guy pulls up, drops off a couple trash bags and dips. We start looking through it all and I find a full 90 count bottle of 10 milligrams oxycodone pills. So how was the rest of your week? He doesn't remember. A classmate of mine found a human skull that was donated. It still had remnants of human on it. They reported it to the police and turns out it was part of an active murder investigation one state over. My aunt's a cop and had to go investigate a donated hand grenade. #X200B, edit, people keep asking if this happened in city, so apparently it's super common in America. For the record, keep it classy, San Diego. I got a call from my kid's summer camp once letting me know that he had a grenade with him at camp. It was a dummy training grenade, but it's as real as it gets except that it has no charge or primer in it. I can't believe they didn't call the bomb squad. How did he get a training grenade? I got one online. Great desk item. Pull the pin and the spoon shoots off, fully spring assisted and everything. It's a bitch to put back together, though I suppose they're only meant to be used once. Not something I've found particularly, but something very strange. Every month and a half or so, a man would come by right before we closed and would donate a single blank CD. Every single time. My coworkers and I would always put it in and see if anything was on it. There never was. Blank because he erased the evidence off of it and used your shop to get rid of the discs so the data couldn't be recovered and he couldn't be found with the erased discs in his trash. I feel like it'd make more sense to dump it in just a random public trash, rather than somewhere he'd be recognized by the staff. Or just goddamn burn it. It's plastic. Microwave it. There's literally too many ways to dispose of a CD. Even just looking at it too intensely will make it break. My car just ducking ate 6 of the damn things at once. Dirty laundry. It happened so often, that we had to wear gloves to go through clothing. Washed everything at least once to be safe. Who gets don't wearing their underwear and is like, mail donate it and not wash it. Edit to answer common questions. No, it wasn't Goodwill, it was small thrift shop in Chicagoland. In the back we had 7 washers and dryers. And a team constantly going through clothing. A lot was thrown out. Who donates underwear? You'd be surprised. It happened on a regular basis. Gross. Burn it all. I used to sell vintage clothing wholesale. No joke, it's ultra high demand in Africa. Give me a bale of used underwear, socks, and bras and you got $500 coming your way. Edit 2, picture of bales of clothing, cdn.shopify.com edit, since this comment is blowing up. I used to work over in Asia as an import-exporter. Other strange random knowledge. Vintage Letterman high school jackets were huge demands. If you could fill a 20-feet container, there is $20.50 each. Most people keep them when donating. Pretty much everything you can think of used has a market. Myanmar, Burma and say Asia is probably the most insane time warp in terms of vintage stuff in daily use. Vintage 1950 to 1970s Carspus is still on the road everywhere, for example. Asian and German cars. Vintage imported clothing are sometimes illegal due to killing the local markets for clothes. I've had containers seized. Actually found and had interested North Korean buyers in vintage American clothes. Levi's are big there. Vintage American clothing is serious business in some poor countries. Middle East must get colder than I thought. Was always a seasonal request spike in used blankets in massive quantities. Need a friend who will chat you up at crazy night hours? Join Alibaba.com public chat. They're all salespeople, but usually many will bug you to be friends or practice English. When you say a bale, do you really mean bale? Please tell me I'm picturing the right image. Yes, bale. Many large thrift stores have a baling machine in the back so they can compact clothing fabric items that aren't good enough to sell. Most places send them to charity orgs or rag manufacturers. I used to run the baler at the store I worked at. It was fun but also terrifying. Wife worked there as a teenager. Worst thing she found was a newborn baby who just passed. A woman high on drugs gave birth in the street, freaked out and dumped her baby there. Wife found the baby, called police, and the woman was arrested for neglect among other charges. Managed to dodge murder charges somehow. Unreal. I wouldn't be able to handle something like that. Your poor wife. That poor child. We've had some nipple clamps on a chain, a rampant rabbit with car charger, a jug in the shape of a tit and a book with a hole in it that you stick your dick in for a novelty puppet show. Oh, and there was also a mobile phone with a bunch of photos of a local policeman wearing his girlfriend's underwear. I securely deleted those. He owes me a get-out-of-jail-free card for that. You have to keep copies, so when he pulls you over you say, "I deleted these for you, and I'll delete these too if you say have a nice day." But I mean that is extortion, so you may go to jail as well. Holy shit. You're the cop I found pictures of wearing women's underwear. I work at GW and found a phone with them on there. I deleted them for you, don't worry. Your large package wrapped in lace is safe from the world. Your large package wrapped. Huh. So it wasn't me then, off to jail for lying.